Can we talk about ADHD and trauma, please? Firstly, I want to thank everybody that left such beautiful messages on the poster that I shared about my dad dying. Some of them were so poignant and thoughtful, and I genuinely found them really comforting, interesting as well. Lots of you related and had similar things. The reason I want to talk about trauma with ADHD is that the symptoms of childhood trauma can often be misdiagnosed as ADHD. And I've been looking into it because it's possible that my symptoms have come from trauma. When my mum and I left my dad, we were largely peaceful, but before we did, I have very early memories of them screaming at each other, him hitting her, and another occasion throwing a cup at her head and her head bleeding and blood pouring down her face. And when I look back on those memories, I don't feel any emotion. I feel completely detached and passive. And that numbness can come from just simply shutting down because something's too frightening for a little child to bear. To say though that I've spoken to my half siblings and my dad was never violent towards them or their mother, and wasn't violent to his last wife. It seems like that was just a dynamic between him and my mum. Not that excuses it, but it's just a fact. So when we left, we had a largely very peaceful little existence, but I do remember a couple of little things that make me realise that I was probably still a bit frightened. When we left, she kept a shotgun under her bed for the first couple of years, until the gun amnesty, I think. And during that time I would always sleep in the same bed as her, which now seems odd, but it was because I was afraid. So at this stage it may be useful to look at what's considered to be a traumatic event for a child. Things include serious injuries, life-threatening medical conditions, physical or sexual abuse, witnessing violent acts, neglect or abandonment, death of loved ones, natural disasters, car accidents, poverty and divorce. And here we can see traumatic traits, ADHD traits, and the overlap. And if we just zoom in on the overlap, it's difficulty concentrating and learning in school, easily distracted, often doesn't seem to listen, disorganisation, hyperactive, restless, and difficulty sleeping. So if you are thinking about going to see your doctor or you've got an appointment to talk about ADHD, it may well be worth mentioning if there have been childhood traumas in your past. Also, just to add, ADHD can be exacerbated by childhood trauma. So you may have always had it, but that event or those events made it worse. I hope that helps. Bye.